Welcome to the Mass Production Band Talkcast. We want to thank everybody for joining us. So, go get chilled on whatever it is that you get chilled on. Sit back, listen, and enjoy because we are fired up and ready to go. Thank you. Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for listening to us. We got the man on the line with us today. Rodney Trotter, the man, founder of the band Ozone, CEO, and president, producer, recording artist, writer, and performer.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
How you doing? How you doing?
The legendary man. The legendary man. Right. So now we hooked up with Rodney a few weeks ago in California at Santa Fe Swap Meet. Awesome concert. I mean, it's one of those things that when we first started talking, everything just clicked.
That's right.
It really did. Everything just started clicking for us. Then we started talking about things we've done and how we going, what you done. And this dude done worked with some folks. I mean, let's start off with Holland, Dozier, Holland. Now, if you're in our generation, you must have been on the rock if you don't know that Holland, Dozier, Holland. We talk about the Supremes, the Temptations, the Four Tops, Mavis Staples, those folks, and Frida Payne. I mean, a lot of folks and whatnot. So I'm gonna tell you,
board.
And then you moving on. Then we talk about when you El DeBarge, Chico DeBarge, Tina Marie, Funkadelics, of course, the Funkadelics, Mona Lisa Young. I mean, Mandrill. The Mandrill is my group. Hey, everybody, yeah, that's my group.
Then you get it.
Get it. Yep, there you go. So man, how was it like working with all of those legends, man?
Oh man, it's I didn't have a tremendous ride right now in my music career and in my life because of my mom and dad they was musicians and very strong musicians, and I came out with Motown. Matter of fact, I created my first record and had my first top 10 was with my own label, Black World Records, with the group the Eyes of Ebony, Black Ace of Soul and Eyes of Ebony. And that's what launched me into locking in with Motown. And from there, it's just been a roller coaster ride with just the who's who, man. And working with Mandrill and the Wilson brothers and working with Holland, Dozier, Holland, and being able to go inside their catalog and work with artists like Mavis Staples, the chairman of the board, because Parliament-Funkadelic was signed to Holland, Dozier, Holland. That's who they first did. A lot of their main records was on the Invictus label with Holland, Dozier.
Okay,
so that was Funkadelic.
Yeah. That was Funkadelic? Yeah, Parliament-Funkadelic. They did the Osbium. The first album they did was Osbium, and it was on the Holland, Dozier, Holland label. It was on the Invictus label.
Wow, that's great. That's breaking news, man. That's breaking news.
Yeah, because Parliament is the actual group. You have Fuzzy Haskins and Grady and Ray Davis and George and you had all these guys. They wanted to be like the Temptations, and they went over to Motown, and Barry and them rejected them, so they ended up going to Holland, Dozier, Holland, and Eddie picked them up because he at the same time the band Funkadelic was, with Billy and Tiki Fullwood, Eddie Hazel, Bernie Worrell, and Tall Ross.
Yeah.
All of these guys, they was adamant musicians and was funking real hard over there. And they ended up playing a lot of stuff behind chairman of the board, give me just a little more time and all of that stuff. That was all, Billy and Eddie on guitars and bass,
Wow.
And so they did a lot of stuff over there with them, along with Ada Dyer. If you ever heard, she was almost like the Janis Joplin type of chick, that was going on. And it was just, all of them was just there, man, and everybody was collaborating, doing what we do. If you was a good writer, you get into the writing of it. If you was a good musician, you'd be over there. Even like Billy Bass and Eddie Hazel, they was the one that was on Standing on Shaky Ground with the Temptations.
Shaky Ground.
Yeah, that was all Billy Bass and Eddie Hazel on them damn guitars. Billy did 5 bass lines on that damn song.
Whoa.
Just to make them one.
Wow.
So look, the Parliament you talking about, was that the I Want to Testify Parliament?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Right.
Yes,
when I tell folks that sometimes I say, the first one I remember was I Want to Tell. That's not the same Parliament-Funkadelic.
Yeah. Now the Parliament, I just want to testify with your love.
Right.
That one right there.
Yeah.
That was and seeing the first big record that George and them was doing with Parliament was All Your Goodies Is Gone.
Yeah.
That's the first one, And then, Testify was one of the things that they wanted to take over there to Motown, and they said, "Oh no, y'all sounded too much like the Temptations," and they didn't want no rivalry going there. Because the boys, they had the real strong 5-part harmony going on and everything.
They did,
that was moving. If you listen to a lot of the older, if you listen to the Osbium album itself, it has some gospel things on it. They have some more or less, hard, kind of rock and roll stuff on it and things of that nature, it shows a lot of the actual voicing of what Parliament was doing as far as with their voices, with Ray Davis, and Fuzzy and them, and Oh Lord, Why Lord. And I had a chance to go back when I got with Holland, Dozier Holland, because I, was signed after I left Casablanca with Gerald Busby. He connected me in, and I was going to either go to Warner Brothers at the time, or I was going to go to Holland, Dozier Holland, because my management was kind of torn of trying to make it which one I was going to go with. Well, I chose to go with Holland, Dozier Holland, because I wanted to, get with Eddie and Brian and really get there, get behind the how to structure a hit, how to create, great records with melodies and hooks and stuff. And they were the kings of that stuff. So
it was,
Rodney, you speak highly of the legacy of Holland, Dozier Holland, but prior to that, you were involved in a village. You were raised by a strong village. As I read your bio, I noticed that your mother was the lead singer for Duke Ellington.
Yeah, her and Lee traded it off on a lot of stuff. So at that time, and even in my upbringing, to echo what you're saying, even in my upbringing, my mom and dad both were jazz musicians. My father played drums with Charlie Parker, and they owned nightclubs. They had nightclubs in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Chateau de Countenay was one of the nightclubs, and the Carousel Lounge. And in those lounges, you had Jack McDuff, Buddy Rich, and you had you had, I mean, matter of fact, actually, Wes Montgomery has started out in my mom's
Oh boy.
everything coming to Indiana. And you had all
Yes.
the musicians that used to come through. And that's why my dad, he ended up being the union man, him and
Okay.
so if they came in Indiana, they had to go through him in order to get on the stage.
You know, I
Wow.
remember those days,
From
man.
Red Fox, Jimmy Smith, you
Wow.
know, Don
What a
Ellis,
legacy.
trumpet players and stuff, Don Ellis, Phineas Newborn, and the keyboard players and people of that nature. I had the opportunity of just being around those people as I was growing. And it was one of the things that, you know, the influence of music and the influence of jazz from Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and it just on and on. You know, it was, you know, everybody was, I mean, you coming through, you had it was just, I mean, and all of those guys, man. I had the opportunity, the chance.
So Rodney, with all the experience that you have in the music industry, do you think that it's changed for the better?
No.
And what
we got to get it back, and that's one of the things that I'm working with right now with you know, with Kevin Black, that is with me right now, that was over there with Interscope and people. We're trying to, you know, get it back, because music has went to a whole different realm right now, where I got Charles Glenn trying to reach into me right now. But music has went into a whole different situation where now we're, you know, there is no actual music being played and being created.
Definitely.
Music is being emulated. It's being sampled. It's being compromised from, you know, the hip hop world and everybody that is locking in now, that is basically compromising the music, that is putting garbage. We don't have melodies no more. You got people that are basically just rhythm and rhyming, you know, so there is no actual melodic structure in it. So, and unless we can get back to, you know, with music, and there is no musicians, you know, a lot of these guys that is running around here that are, you know, supposed to be the top 100 and supposed to be your Grammy winners and everyone. These guys haven't written no music.
Right.
They sample the music and then they talked on top of it.
But check this out though. But piggyback on that. So what do you think about this whole AI situation that's, you know, that we're going through right now with the, you know, technology catching up and going beyond what you were just talking about?
Yeah, gonna make it.
Go ahead, Rodney. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm finished. I just wanted to get a response from you.
Well, it's gonna be worse, because again, now you can take your voice and put it, you know, sample it, and then next you know, you got you singing, you know, and something that you ain't never even performed, just using your character, using your likeness, using your voice timbres and everything else.
It's using your voice. It's using your voice without a body.
Artificial intelligence craziness, man.
Right.
You know, the person doesn't exist no more.
I found a lot of. I played for a church, and a lot of the gospel musicians are actually playing a lot of the stuff that growing up we were listening to, playing, because the gospel, when I was growing up, you played hymns and stuff like that mostly. Then this came, and I think the very first big one was "Oh Happy Day."
Edwin Hawkins and them people.
But now the gospel musicians are actually, them boys are rocking a lot. Even the bands are rocking like some of the music like we did back in the day. The horns, the keyboards, and all that. They're not sampling it as much, or probably too much at all.
Well, see, but that's where you're getting true. You know, I mean, there's still musicians up in there. You know, ain't nobody up there spinning no records. Ain't nobody in there spinning no records or turning no turntables.
No.
I mean, it's the same thing like when we do the shows that we do. And
Right.
and it kind of pisses me off a lot of times, excuse me, that it's dealing with with the Daz band and people like that, because they come on and they tracking,
Right.
and they sitting up there and they, they got the track going on, and because the actual musicians that was actually, playing that stuff may no longer be with them, but still you need to go find comparable people that can play it.
You got,
Right.
You
you got
see,
musicians.
instead of sitting up there tracking and then you playing up against the track. We with Ozone, Charles Glenn and myself, we ain't tracking nothing.
No,
Same
no.
with
Everything
Max.
that you hear from us is live.
Same
Right.
with Max, and you know that.
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
how do you propose to change the trajectory of where music is going?
Well, the same way it's always been changed. And it's been changed through the industry, through the record companies, or through the distributors, and through those who are actually putting the music out.
Right.
And see, and it's one of the things that this is why you got people like Clive Davis and all of these guys that and Interscope and that created Def Jam and created even like Kenny Evans and L.A. Reid, those were
Yes.
people that was owned and bought through Clive Davis. LaFace
Right.
Records, you see, it was Arista Records. It was because they just gave them a production, budget, and they had a production company, and that
Right.
production company was called LaFace.
The face,
Right.
And
exactly.
they made
Right.
LaFace Records, but who was actually doing the marketing, who was actually doing the distribution, and who was actually paying the bills was Clive Davis and Arista Records.
Right, right,
So
right.
they basically took the artists that they created and that they did in their production company and took that and put it out there and made them artists great, made the label great, you see. And those are the people that run it. I mean, it's the same thing with Earth, Wind, and Fire. You had
Mhm.
Kalimba Productions. Kalimba was, Maurice White's production company, and Earth,
Right.
Wind, and Fire created that music, but they
Yeah.
was over there with Columbia Records.
Columbia
Mhm.
Records.
So we have got to orchestrate a movement or get ourselves back in a position such as like the Holland Dozier Hollands and the Barry Whites
Right.
and the Tom Bells and the Gamble Huffs, to get ourselves back in a position where we can actually start creating R&B music and being able to deliver R&B music back to our public. And
Yeah.
they trying to definitely.
Keyword, Rodney, is positioning.
That's
a
right.
key word. We
Thank
have
you.
to position ourselves.
position-
Absolutely.
Get back to that. And
Get
this
back.
is now. And these are the things that we're trying to put into place and align ourselves with artists, producers, writers, and people that are not trying to just sell out for the money, but go back
Exactly.
and capture,
Exactly.
the identity of the art
Right.
music,
Because now it's almost like R&B don't exist anymore. It's like because you have these award shows now, and I remember like back in the day, man. We had the greatest entertainers out there, man. And they all had different styles. Everybody sound different. In
That's right.
today's like music business, everybody's just sounding like a remix of the last song or whatever. There's no difference and so forth. And I think that's what's really missing in the business right now, and that is there's no differences. There's no difference. There's no difference in sound or performing or anything. And so you're right. So like Lee said, positioning in order to get back where we came from and to take back what we own is like really key to like I think like the survival of Black music.
And we have to do that because the survival of that, I mean, there's a genocide program that's going on, and it's definitely
Yes, it is.
music, and it definitely started from eliminating out of these major companies the Black music departments, the A&R division, and everything else.
Yeah.
And that was the foundation of the genocide of trying to eliminate
Yes.
Black music. So that's what we and it's weird because I was in that whole mix, man. That's why I can speak so prominently about it and hard about it, because I was in that whole mix. I watched it, and as I was speaking against it, even then, it was things where it was going to happen because they was trying to from it. And that's why I got people like Kevin Black that is steady with me, because Kevin Black was the one that, if you look up Kevin Black, music and Kevin Black, music executive, you'll see who I'm talking about. Because he was that got Dr. Dre, and he was one of the head marketing people in Warner Brothers, and he ran Death Row and all of that stuff, and Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop, all of them. If it wasn't for Kevin Black as a marketing director and out there pushing and marketing them records, they would never be what they are.
I'm gonna tell you, Rodney, we got you up here, and we gonna have to talk about Sir Nose.
Yeah.
We can't have you up here and not talk about Sir Nose.
Well, I mean, I had an opportunity, man, to just as working with George Clinton. I've worked with George Clinton in many different facets as a producer, writer, and my thing was when George and I was connected, Gerald Busby connected George and I together, because we was both being signed at the same time when they was being signed with Cecil Holmes and everybody over there at Casablanca, and they was doing City Records. Cecil Holmes, Parliament was, that was their group. That was Cecil Holmes' group. And there was one of the things where I had my own thing at the time called Rodney Trotter's Egypt, where I had in my arsenal songs like Space Nigga and E-Caps Agan and Jack Cosmic Ship, Las Vegas Politics.
All right.
These songs, you can pull these songs up now. And at the time, Funkadelic, Billy Bass, Tiki Forward, Bernie, and all these guys, they wasn't with George. They split away from that because, everybody going about their own path, But they was indirectly working with George. So George had to do it like the James Brown thing and go, get into a whole new band. That's how you got Bootsy and a lot of these people that is inside the Funkadelic side, because George was, he lost the rhythm section. So he said, I got to go get me another rhythm section. Well, when he left his rhythm section, I picked him up. And I had Billy and all of them, because I met Billy when I was over with, just came out to California in '73 with Motown. And Billy was over there with us, and he was over there recording. And Norman Whitfield Sr. was a very good friend of mine. And matter of fact, I was under the apprenticeship of Norman.
Wow.
Okay.
And he was there. And when I did my session, Norman, he was my engineer. When he does his sessions, I would be his apprentice, and I'll be working the board and his second. So let me plug this in over here. I'm plugging it up, and he tell me to run the eventide through sessions. I'm over there hooking it up and doing the things, and that's how I pretty much, got my literary skills in engineering and producing. And
on the job training.
On the job training. That's what it was.
That's it.
That's it there. Norman ended up saying that, hey man, I got this new song on Shaky Ground, and I really want that heavy guitar and that driving bass rhythm with it.
Right.
One person, and that's Billy Bass. And I went over and got with Billy and told him that, hey man, Norman won, because I was trying to get Billy and them to come on and go with me and play with me. And sure enough, once we did that, Billy and I hooked up, and that's when he came over and he bought on the Jackpot record, and on Space Nigga, it was Billy Bass Nelson, Tiki Four was on drums, Eddie Hazel was on guitars, him and Josh, I can't forget his name, but I did. And Bernie and all of us, we came over.
Yeah.
I had like Gary Barks on saxophone. I had the LTDs, horn players with Jake Riley and Onion Miller. I had them as my and we created the funk that you would hear from what you're hearing from Parliament, from the, when we did the Mothership, and we created that whole thing. And I had the 3D glasses and that whole thing where Gerald was saying, man, y'all so close to what George and them is trying to do and what George is doing. And why don't y'all just come together? And that's how we, came in line. And next thing I know, my group was Shell, because we was all on Casablanca. I was the one the Casablanca record label with my own entity, Rodney Trotter's Egypt, a record label called Greek, which was a subsidiary of Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the Juice Crew, Donnie Gerard, and all them guys on there. And I went on there, and it seemed like my whole project got pushed. But the main thing, my concepts was coming out.
Okay.
So that's how that all formulated. So I just kept my entity, and I just kept what I was doing. Next thing I know, George had me over there, and we was working, and I would do my things in the studio. And next thing I know, I look up, and it all went to that direction. So, and that direction, but
I heard you.
It's all good. It was a learning experience.
Yeah, that's a great story. Great story.
It is, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. We gonna have to get you back again, man, because I know it's stuff that we have
There's
left
so much
untapped talking about. We're gonna have to get you back again.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. Whenever we can have this little chat, because again, it's history, things that needs to be done.
Is.
A lot of things that need to expressed. But I'm looking forward for it.
And I'm looking forward to us hitting that stage again too.
I'm pushing.
Yeah.
Pushing that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely gonna do that. I got some great
if those of you who have not checked it out, you need to go out on YouTube and check out Ozone at the Santa Fe concert. They got a thing out there, and you'll see them kicking. Definitely see them kicking.
Yep.
Kicking like Van Damme, baby.
Doing the split one, kicking that.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, we sure do appreciate this, man. We sure do appreciate it, Rodney.
Definitely, Rodney, definitely. Like,
thank you so much.
Yeah, I could sit here and just listen to you all night, man.
Yeah, that's why I said we got to do a part 2 to this.
Yeah,
and we looking forward to you, man. We do appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been awesome.
Thank you.
And we love you, brother. We love you for sure. 100. Yes.
Yeah, have a great one. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Okay.
Definitely.
So I bet everybody could hear me that time.